Hi, I'm Destiny Poole. Welcome to my TED Talk. Protect Black women. It's a slogan that has caught popularity in light of the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement. Protecting Black women does not only mean physical protection, it means respecting Black women in our experience and also advocating for us when necessary. This level of protection, unfortunately, does not occur at the levels of Western medicine and Western medical practices. And this is the root cause of why maternal morbidity poses a much higher threat for Black women. This year, there were two highly publicized cases of maternal morbidity for two Black women. Both influencers, one from Brooklyn, Sha'Asia Washington, 26 years old, and the other in the UK, Nicole Thea, who is 24 years old, both of whom lost their lives due to medical incompetence. Unfortunately, this crisis is not unique to these two women. It's one that affects Black women nationwide in Western medical practices. And it's because of a lack of protection for us. And I want to get into a little more of what that means and what that looks like. We all understand the bloody history of this country and how Black bodies have long been exploited, neglected, and profited off of for centuries. And this is very true in the case of the Black woman experience. This historical trauma has followed us to this day and affected the rates of maternal morbidity, perinatal distress, as well as infant death rates, all of which occur at higher rates for Black women than any other race. Now, Dorothy Roberts, a scholar, addresses this treatment and how this is directly linked to our history in her book, Killing the Black Body, in which she notes the degrading mythology about Black mothers is one of a complex set of stereotypes that focuses on the denial of Black humanity in order to rationalize white supremacy. Now, this directly relates to the treatment that we receive and exploits the fact that white supremacist and racist ideologies are the root cause of why we are neglected in medical practices. Another author, Sunshine Muse, notes that's in her article, Setting the Standard for Holistic Healthcare of and for Black Women, that a growing body of evidence indicates that the stress from racism and racial discrimination influences maternal morbidity and mortality among Black women, regardless of their socioeconomic status. This is a crisis that we are facing, and it affects Black women across the nation, not just in any one local place. Unfortunately, these facts speak to the overarching quality of care that we receive and are not excluded from the SF Bay Area. Between the years of 2012 and 2014, the San Francisco Department of Public Health reported higher rates of infant mortality due to SIDS and also other perinatal conditions at a much higher percentage for Black and African American infants. And there's little to no research in this field, so there's not much promise of hope for our care. However, there is a promise of municipal support. In September of this year, Mayor London Breed introduced a supplement program that is instating a $1,000 supplement to 150 Black and Pacific Islander mothers a month in order to help them post-birth. According to NBC Bay Area, the project was created through a partnership of the Department of Public Health, the Hellman Foundation, and University of San Francisco Medicine, all in an effort to decrease infant mortality rate. However, this project only addresses part of the problem, which is financial adversity that Black and Pacific Islander mothers are facing postpartum, of course. It doesn't turn the focus on the health threats that we are facing in Western medicine that are honestly taking the lives of Black women every day. So what would be a better solution? In my opinion, it would be a much better allocation of money to focus the funds on making the Black experience more comfortable. And that could mean issuing that if a Black woman wants to be seen by a Black healthcare professional, then we should make that happen, and that should be a possibility. Or it would be helpful to have more personal attention focused on these Black on Black mothers in areas of local and citywide health cares and health centers, which would be more accessible for these women to get ongoing support after, pre, during, and postpartum. In my opinion, $1,000 is clearly not enough money to provide real support to the protection of the Black female body. The overall cost of medical fees, transportation, housing and food security, home goods for potential other family members, and as well as necessities for the mother and baby equates to well over $1,000. And of course, this is only meant to be a supplement, but this is not. This is only a band-aid solution and doesn't address the real issue at hand. Giving the mothers financial support and not addressing the health threats that are facing them is not taking care of the problem and is not protecting Black women from this crisis. This issue affects all Black people. This is not just a Black woman's issue, and even if it was, this directs action. This is the time to implement action behind the phrase protecting Black women. We need support. We need advocacy. We need to be heard when we complain or when we vocalize our own opinions or our fears or our own pain. We need to be taken seriously. And these are the ways in which you can put action behind the issue at hand. You can start by asking the Black women in your communities or families if they've experienced anything that around this treatment or around their care during their birthing experience. And you can also just be a listening ear when Black women vocalize their opinions or their problems. And lastly, but certainly not least, you can advocate for us verbally and yes, physically, but mostly verbally, and make it so that we can be heard in all spaces, medicine and otherwise. This topic matters. It affects the pillars of our community, which are Black women. I hope that this talk finds you well. Thank you for listening.